All right. Welcome everybody. Today's Thursday of day four. It's day like 19, I believe, something like that. Um, okay, so today's question of the day is what's your biggest takeaway from your learning journey so far? Um, and I'll start. I mean, I feel like it's kind of like a something that continues as because I'm still learning to this day. Um, and I think my in general, my biggest takeaway is probably to be okay with not knowing. Like there's going to be a lot of times where I found myself that I don't know the answer to it. I don't know the solution. But I feel pretty confident that I can figure it out, and that's kind of the point that I want you guys to get to is where yes, there's going to be many, many times where it's like, yeah, I don't know. I haven't dealt with that before. Maybe I haven't done that in a while and I've kind of forgot or whatever it may be, but there's going to be a lot of times where you're not going to know. And that's kind of been my biggest thing is that there's been so many times where I don't know. Every single project that I've worked on, there's so many different things that I don't know. Even just between Lana's class and your class, there are things that, it's like, oh man, I don't really remember, or I haven't, or I haven't touched that yet, and I don't know. But I'm figuring it out, and I believe that I'm able to kind of figure out anything that would need to do, or need to figure out. I think that's kind of been my biggest takeaway from my learning journey as an engineer. Yeah. Ron, you're the first one on my screen. Also, I just wanted to share, it doesn't need to be something big, could be something really small. But just wanted to hear kind of what's you guys' biggest takeaway from your learning journey so far. Could be as an engineer or I don't know, could be something else. Yeah, sorry, Ron, feel free to take it away.
Yeah, I think it's about the same for me as well. Um, Being okay with not knowing, and then also having having time to like step away from the code or the screen, because sometimes like you're looking at it so much you can't really know what's wrong, but then you step away for like a few minutes, you come back and like, whoa, it's it's like right there. So like not knowing, but having some time to like just breathe and then come back and tackle it again. And then next on my screen is Junior.
I think my biggest takeaway right now is I guess it was kind of interesting. So today I was playing around with that chat GPT, right? And was talking back and forth and it wouldn't understand some of the things I was trying to say, or maybe I was trying to say it and it didn't pick it up. So when I kind of related to what's going on with the class is a lot of the miscommunication with my programming to a computer. It happens all the time with person to person, but I think it's kind of interesting when it's like person to computer. And so we have an idea of what a program is, and we're trying to tell the computer how to do it in their language, and then sometimes we mess up with our communication to the computer and the computer gives us feedback or whatnot. So it's just, for me, it's working out that miscommunication between how you're telling a computer what to do in their language, and then the computer talking back to you and go, what's this error? I don't know what this error is or what this method is. And so you're trying to figure that out too. So and yeah, I don't know. I just think it's kind of interesting because a lot of times it happens human to human, but now it's like it's human to computer, and the computer's actually like talking back to us now. And I'm just like, I don't know where we're going now, but Adrian's next.
I think the biggest takeaway I got from learning is from my learning journey. That's hard, but I think recently, thinking back, like if you're not having fun with something you're trying to learn, then why even bother? That's like the biggest one. So, with honestly, right now with computer networking, to me, it's just such a boring topic. Like, if I could just quit my job right now, I would, and just fully focus on coding. Because I think also looking at people's projects is so cool. Like, I know it's not, this is a bit advanced, but I was watching a lot of, there's a YouTuber named Michael Reeves. I'm not sure if anyone knows him here, but basically, this dude is so entertaining but not it's not safe for a work environment. But basically, he's really entertaining in terms of like how he presents his projects. There's a lot of coding involved in it, right? There's like 5,000 lines of code that he doesn't necessarily show, but when you see the presentation of his project, you can tell that he's actually having a lot of fun with it. Like even though it's like, to be honest, like some of these projects are so useless, but they're so interesting. Like the biggest one for me that I can say that is not weird, like super weird, um, is he made a goldfish gain $50,000 off of trading stocks. So like the goldfish is like swimming across like one side of the tank and the other side of the tank, whichever side of the tank it goes to, it just picks that stock. And then he actually got so much money off of it, off of that small experiment, but there's so much line of code behind that. It's such a crazy idea, but the fact like he's having fun with it, it's a crazy idea. And like it's something that you can still take off of it no matter how crazy the idea is. I'm like, wow, that's really fun. And he's learning a lot from it, and he's been doing that with other projects. It's so subtle how he's using like stuff from what he did before to like what he did now. So like learning looks so fun. I think that's the biggest takeaway. If it's fun for you, then just keep doing it, man. Uh, Matt.
Hello. So I was gonna say the exact thing that Adrian was gonna say. Um, uh, wait, I forgot. To just have fun with it. Like if you don't like it, then um, hmm, yeah, just wait. Sorry. To just have fun with it, and if you don't like it, then yeah, why bother? Yeah.
Got you. And I like that. So the admissions process for this school or this program is it is the way it is because I wanted to make sure kind of exactly what you guys are saying in the sense that I wanted to make sure that this is something that you guys wanted to do. I didn't want anybody in here that's going to be forced or felt obligated to do it or anything like that. Because to me, it's like if you're not interested in it, then you're not going to do a good job, basically. If you're interested in something, you're going to do a good job. And so like that's where, that first call, that's really what that is like, hey, I want to get to know you, you get to know me. I can obviously answer any questions, but also let's just get a feel to see, is this something that you truly want to do, or is someone like forcing you to do it? And so yeah, that's kind of so I definitely agree kind of with what you guys are saying. And also Adrian, I forgot his name, but Michael Reeves, I think that guy does a lot of really cool stuff. He has a lot of really cool projects. I just looked him up on YouTube. I've seen a bunch of his stuff before. And yeah, no, he's super smart guy. I don't It's really cool. It makes me want to do more projects kind of like that. So I'd recommend here. Now I'm gonna put his thing in resources maybe. This is his.
His content, YouTube content is very I you don't watch it with your kids because he does cuss a lot and there's memes involved. So yeah.
That's really
But
funny.
you'll see the in-betweens. See in between the lines and you'll understand what I mean. But yeah.
Yeah. Throughout the class, I'm not gonna do it right now, but throughout the class or maybe this weekend, I'll share with you guys a bunch of the YouTubers that I watch because I like the people who are technical, but also like there's like some humor in it. So it's not like boring per se. So I like that. And so there's a few YouTubers that I enjoy watching a decent amount of their stuff and that they're like senior engineers at like Twitch or like Netflix and stuff like that, or they were and now they're kind of doing their own thing. And so they have a really nice way of explaining some things at a high level, but they still have like a sense of humor and like, I don't know, they make it interesting. So I'll share that. I'll share that this weekend. Um, but cool. Thank you all for sharing. I think I'm really happy I asked that question. Okay, so let's do this. Let me share my screen. Do this. Okay, we have this. Sure. Okay. Or actually, I guess before I do this, how is everybody feeling? Was everybody here able to at least mess around with the CLI from yesterday?
I'll be honest, no, I didn't have the time.
No worries. If you guys didn't, that's why I made it kind of optional or whatever.
Yeah, same here. No time. Just got off work.
Yeah, no worries. That's what I was thinking. That's why I'm not making anything mandatory or whatever. But as you guys have time, I definitely would like for you guys to just take a look at it, see how it works, get it working. And of course, if you do have the time and you're curious about it, I would recommend trying it out with your other CLIs, like doing something similar with like loading the file, saving the stuff to the file, etc. Um, yeah, so just let me know. I think that stuff's really interesting and yeah, want to hear what you guys do, what you guys build. It's always interesting to me. Okay, but today we're gonna go back into OOP a little bit, go through some different concepts. I'm gonna show you guys some different tools that you guys can do. Um, Kind of where we're at with regards to Ruby. And after like we go through a lot of the fundamental concepts in a specific thing, it's more I'm trying to give you guys more tools that you guys can use. Like I want to fill up you guys' theoretical toolbox so that way when you guys are working on a project or doing whatever it is, it's like, oh yeah, I remember I could also probably try this out or I could do this for this specific situation or whatever it is. And that's kind of like File IO. File IO, as I mentioned to you guys yesterday, it in itself is not something that I've done often on the job, but it's more the general concept that I want you guys to understand. But also in general, I think it's a tool that I want you guys to have. So that way, if you guys needed to read and write to files for whatever reason, you guys can. But cool. So we are going to do this. Let's call this, what do I want to call it? I'm just going to call it practice. Practice.rb. It's going to be called practice again. Okay. So we're going to quickly go through abstraction and encapsulation again. They're two very similar concepts, and I'm not going to lie, I kind of get them confused. And I just think of when it comes down to it, I kind of think of them at the same thing. So we're going to start with abstraction. So abstraction is one of the core principles of OOP or object-oriented programming. And basically what the way we can think of it is we're hiding complex implementation details and showing only the necessary features of a product. So the real world example that I gave you guys before was like a car steering wheel. The steering wheel, you can see that you guys, as a user, I can use that steering wheel to turn the car, obviously, but I don't see everything that's going on under the hood. All that stuff is abstracted from me. So that way, as a regular person, I don't need to understand that stuff. That doesn't, that stuff isn't important for the average user to use. Yes, the mechanic and the engineers need to, but as a regular person, you don't need to understand that stuff. And that's kind of something similar with abstraction where basically if we have some really complex code or we have all this different things going on, it's like we're only going to show what's necessary. Kind of similar with the adder reader, adder accessor. It's like, hey, do we need that to allow the user to do this? If not, then we're not going to give them access to that. If so, then give them access to it. That's kind of the idea with this abstraction encapsulation again. Okay. So yeah, let's go and do an example. Let's do this. And actually here I can share this. This is from my notes. Okay. Real quick, we'll just go through this real quick, and I'll share this with you guys, and then we'll go through an example. So what is abstraction? Simplifying complex reality by modeling classes appropriate to the problem. Hiding, maybe a better explanation to me is hiding unnecessary details from the user. I think this is the big thing right here. Why use it? It reduces complexity. It's like the users don't need to understand these complex things if it's not necessary. It enhances code reusability, and it improves maintainability. And so really, I think the big thing is this one and this one. If there's two things I want you guys to get from it, reduce complexity for the average person because we're hiding unnecessary details from the user. That's to me the big thing. Another quick thing that I wanted to share And this isn't something specific to OOP, but this is more of a, in general, like when you're programming, a lot of people like this concept of dry. Dry stands for do not repeat repeats yourself. Technically, the N is lowercase. Yeah, do not repeat yourself. Dry. And so as much as possible, this is the idea, or like this dry concept, like that's kind of where I want to say that's where like functions come into play. For example, that's the reason why we have functions. We don't want to have to rewrite that code every single time, or even a variable. We don't want to have to rewrite that variable or that word or string or whatever it is every single time. And so we're going to use some variable or some function to group some stuff together, so that way we don't have to rewrite it every single time. And so this idea of dry is kind of also another concept that's important here. Okay. But anyway, let's go and do a concept. So we're gonna do this. I'm gonna create a class. I'm gonna call it coffee machine. I'm gonna create my end, and then in here, this method is gonna have it's gonna technically have one public function, and then it's gonna have a private function. So here, let's do this. Private. So this is a new concept for you guys. So this private word right here, any functions below this are only available within this class. And what I mean by that is, let's say, before we do this example, actually, maybe it might be better to do this. Let's do like class person and def talk. I don't know. And puts hello. And then from there, I have an inherited student. I don't know. And so student inherits from person. And if I wanted to, okay. Yeah, let's go and do this. This is fine right here. So I'm going to create a person real quick. So person equals person.new. Or do person.talk. So this is going to do exactly like what we expect. This is Ruby practice.rb. We see it says hello. And in that same sense, if I go student equals student.new, and then I go student.talk, this should also work as well. It works because student inherits from person. However, if I put this, as I just showed you guys, that private word, private, so now everything, all functions below here have to be called within this class. Technically, even for the person, now this person cannot call this talk method outside of this class because we're calling it outside. And just to show you guys, if I try to run this, we see private method talk called for instance of person. So we're not even dealing with the student actually. Let me simplify this even more. So I cannot call this talk method outside of the class. And so the way that this would work is I have to call it within the class. I'm going to create another thing called something. I don't know. It really doesn't matter. And now I'm going to have this method call talk. And now if I call person.something, now it works. So the idea with this is we're going to abstract some complex functionality. Like if you'd imagine this is really complex stuff that is specific to this person, we're going to abstract it and only make it available within this class. But even more than that, we're only going to make it available to other functions in this class to call, and nowhere else can call it. We're kind of abstracting it even more than before. I feel like, let's do this. Okay, now let's go to this coffee machine example. Okay, so I'm going to create a function. I'm going to create it, and it's going to be called make coffee. And it's going to take in a type. And then from there, we'll get to what it does in a second, but I'm going to create some private methods. So I'm going to create like def boil water. And all this method's going to do is it's going to print out puts boiling water. I'm going to create another function. I'm going to create two more functions. I'm going to create three total. brew coffee, it's going to take in a type, and it's going to say puts brewing type of coffee, or brewing that coffee. And I'm going to do one more. I'll do two more actually. Def pour in cup. Oh my gosh. Puts pouring coffee. And then the last one, def add sugar and milk. Puts adding sugar and milk. Really simple. Okay, so now this make coffee function, I'm going to have it be the one that calls all these methods. So it's going to call boil water. It's going to call brew coffee. It's going to call pour in cup. It's going to call add sugar. And brew coffee takes in the type, etc. And so the way this is going to work is outside of this class, literally from 16 to 41, no one can call any of these methods. These are methods that are private. Only this, what's it called? Only functions in here, within 16 to 41, can use these methods. Nothing else can use it. And so now to call that, let's do coffee, like cm equals coffee machine dot new, and then we're gonna go cm dot make coffee. If I run this, I need to pass in a type. Say matcha. Cool. Now it's doing all of this different stuff. And to be honest, with these simple examples, it might be like this seems kind of like redundant, or like why would you do that? And the answer is as things get more complex, there's going to be functionality that you don't want to make available to everywhere else. You only want it to happen during specific situations. So that's where we're going to make them all private. And then from there, if we need that specific functionality, then we'll call it within a function here. It's not going to be something that just anybody can call. It's going to be something that only functions in this specific class can call. It's basically, we're just adding another layer of abstraction, so that way we're not giving anybody the ability to do this. Questions, comments? Okay, cool. Right here, I got an exercise for you guys to basically do the same thing or something similar. And actually, real quick, I'll show you guys like a real world example where we use this. That way we can relate this. Okay. Oh, too big. I think I use it in almost every single controller. Yeah, here's private. So I have all of these functions down here. Generate code, user service. So this generate code is going to basically, so when this is a simple one that we can use as an example. So I believe this is for if a user is trying to reset their password, we need them to verify that they are who they are. So we're going to send a random 6-digit code to their email, so that way they can confirm, hey, this is who they are. So this function generate code, it's under this private keyword right here. So it's a function that cannot just be called from anywhere. It can only be called within this specific file, within this class technically. And so this is something that I don't want anybody to just be able to call, hey, call generate code. Not anybody can do that. It has to be within here. It's something that I want to not everyone to give access to. So kind of just a simple example of where I'm using it in the real world. Yeah. Okay, I don't know. There's more that I could say on it, but that's the basic idea. Okay, so let me do this. And let me go to exercises. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So you guys' exercise, I want you to define a class of your choice. It could be anything you want, whatever it is. Create one method that isn't private. Basically, that's going to be on top of the private keyword. And then that's going to call private methods that you will be creating. So you're going to use the private method or keyword to make 2 to 3 private methods. Basically, any method below it is private. And then create an object of your class and test it out. Yeah, so pretty much you're going to do something like this, where you'll have a method that's public, a bunch of methods that are private, and then from there, the public method is going to call all these different methods. And also, if you wanted to, like I could print stuff out here too, doing something. Yeah, and here I'll share this with you guys. All right, cool. You guys are good to share your screen and try it out.
Hey, Leon,
Yes.
I have a question on this. So this is what I put,
Mm-hmm.
and then this is what access everything in private over here.
Correct.
I created the person. I put P person one with the person up here.
Okay.
And then I did the full profile, which puts everything. But I don't know why it does this nil. Like I
Got
don't know where it's coming from.
So let's see. I believe, okay. So what I want you to do is I want you to say on after 16, click enter and do like return, put a string and do like this is the full profile or something. I don't know. We can say anything.
Um, Full profile.
Yeah. And then
That's
try
it.
running it again. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, cool. So we got rid of one of the
Yeah.
nils. And so now let's go to the bottom and we'll fix that top one. So to fix this one, so basically comment out line 38 and let's see, we can see exactly what's going on with that nil, with that nil right there. So now we'll run this code and see what happens. And we're going to see there's nil. Okay, perfect. So what's happening here? This is the difference between return and puts. So you're saying print out whatever person1.person returns. If you
Mhm.
scroll up to the top, what does it return? What does this function return?
Yeah, it doesn't return anything.
Correct. And so that's why
Yeah.
it's printing out nil. It's doing
Got
this, it's printing it out like you're saying, but then as soon as that it's done with that, then it goes back to where it was called and you're trying to print something out and it's like, hey, there's nothing to print out.
I see.
Yeah. So you could put return there or you could remove P there. That's the two ways that you could fix it.
Okay, so if I did this,
Yeah, and then try it out again. Yep.
got it.
Because technically you're not trying to print out what this function's returning now, because that function doesn't return anything.
Got it. Okay, that makes sense. Okay.
Yep,
Thank you.
got you. And then I did also just give another exercise, kind of pretty similar. I just want you guys to get more practice and I want to give a little more exercise. So I'll give you guys some more time to work on this as well. So you guys, it's an exercises now. There's no rush. I'm gonna give you guys time for it. And I might give one more just to have extra practice. Mm. Hey, Ron, I'm looking at what you're doing. Could you scroll up in your file a little bit? I just want to see the full class. Just a little bit. All right, perfect, right there. Okay, so let's go through this error. Or do you know what's going on here, Ron?
I'm trying to pass in one more for the speed.
Got you. Yeah, yeah. So I see so okay, here's my question to you. Because I see you're doing that there, which makes sense. That makes a lot of sense to me. But where is this speed coming from? Like where is this word speed coming from?
Carmack speed.
If it's nothing,
From here?
where so not necessary. So speed, yes, this is speed here, but this speed down here and this up here is different. If you remember, like variables that we create within a function are specific to that function, unless they have the at sign, because then they're an instance variable. So these are not instance variables. And so this speed right here is different than the one here. So that's where I'm asking you, where is this coming from? Like, where are you creating this or passing it in as a parameter or something?
Also, I don't need this.
So you do need that, but basically you need to be passing it in as a parameter. So that's why you're doing taco and 250, which makes sense, or whatever it was that was there. And so you need to be passing both of them in there. But then when you call car type, you see that it says given two, expected one. Car type right now
because
only
of
accepts
this.
one. Exactly. So you need to make it accept two.
Okay, so the speed moves up here.
Yes and no. It needs to be in both places. Because then when you call car max speed, you still need to be passing in a parameter. It just needs to be coming from somewhere. And so that somewhere is it's technically starting out here, then it goes here, and then it goes here, and then it goes here. Does that kind of make sense?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Real quick. So if I just did car max speed and then I put in the speed here,
Mm-hmm.
it won't return anything, right? Or
Well, you're not returning anything right now. You're using puts in all of your different places. So here, let's try running this. This looks like, and actually add this stuff down there, and let's see it work, and we'll walk through it. Yeah, so run this code. This will work. I'm like mostly sure. Perfect. There we go. We see it's working. So what's happening here is you created a car, and then you do car type passing in two arguments, taco and 250. That's gonna go up here. It's gonna be like, okay, cool. So type is taco, speed is 250. Print out this car is a taco. And then it's going to go car max speed, passing in whatever the speed is that you passed in up here. So, okay, cool. Now call car max speed, passing in originally the 250 from down here. So then it's going to go down here. So then, okay, cool. Car max speed, passing in 250. So speed is 250. Puts max speed is 250. It prints that out. Once that's done, now it goes back up here. It goes back to the next function in here. So now it's like, okay, cool, here's rim dimensions. Rim dimensions is a function, but it doesn't take in any parameters. So let me just call it, and now then it goes back down here. And so it's kind of like going back up and down based on what you're telling it to do. Does that make sense?
yes, solid. So I just messed up here, right? Because I just needed to add this
Correct. Yeah. You just needed
in
to.
order to add this one.
Yep, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yep. Anytime. I'll give you guys like 3 more minutes roughly, and then we'll go ahead and take a quick 10-minute break.
Hmm. Hey.
Hey Matt, so you're getting this error, private method find song. So which is the public method that you should be calling, maybe, versus the private method that you're currently calling? So right now you're trying to call find song, which is a private method, which makes sense with why you were getting this error. So what method do we have to call from your music player class in order for it to do, yeah. Um, Got you. So you basically, I think what you should make, what you could do there is the same way you're passing in track there, you'd pass in track as a for play song, and then when you play song, you can say like now playing that track, something like that. Solid. All right. All right. Let's go ahead and take a quick 10-minute break. We'll come back at 7 past. And then we're gonna go through a couple more examples, and then I'll give you guys another exercise to try out with this stuff. All right, welcome back, everybody. Yay. Okay, so now what I want us to do, what we're gonna work through. I was gonna go through the solution, but everyone looked like they're doing pretty well with that. If you guys have any questions on it, let me know. We can walk through it. Happy to. But I think a better use of our time, or I don't want to say better use of our time, but the next thing I kind of want to work on is using this idea of private methods with kind of using file reading and writing that we were learned yesterday. So that way we can kind of put them together in a sense. Um, and then actually, after I go through this example where we're doing it together, where I'm going to pair you guys up into random groups of two, and you guys are going to work together on, really it's going to be these two exercises right here, actually. I have them ready to go. So this is what you guys are going to be working on next in groups of two. Okay, so let's go ahead and do this. This was originally the exercise I was going to give, but changing it up. So want us to create, we're going to do this together. We're going to create a library class that manages books. We're going to define a library class with methods to add and remove books, and we're going to use private methods to handle internal operations like updating the database. The database is really just going to be a file similar to this context.json. The user should interact with the simple methods like borrow book or return book, but they shouldn't be able to directly update the database by just clicking or by calling update database or whatever it is the function that we're going to call. And so this is again the idea with these private methods is that users are going to be able to interact with the database indirectly, not directly. They're going to be able to call like add book or remove book, which will update the database, but they're not able to actually go and just update the database by itself. That's the idea with this. Okay, so let's go and start writing this out. And so I'm going to create a class called library. I'm going to create my end, and then in here, let's go to like initialize. I'm going to initialize and I'm going to do file. It's going to take in a file name, and I'm actually going to give it a default value of like library.json. Create my end, and then from there, we're going to say at file name equals file name. And then eventually here, we're going to have a function called load database. The idea is that as soon as we initialize a library instance, as soon as we create an instance of this class, we should be calling a private method that is going to load the database to make sure that it's up to date and we have access to that data. Okay, so the next function that I'm going to create is I'm going to create a function called add book. And this is going to take in a book. And all we're going to do here is we're going to create we're going to have a books object, and we're basically which is going to be an array, and we're basically going to pass in all the books that we create here, or basically whatever book it is that the user adds basically. Okay, let me see what else. Let's go. We can start with this. Let's just start with this. Let me just test out my logic. I'm going to do like library equals library dot new. I'm not going to pass in anything since I already have library.json. And let me just do like p library. I don't have any outer readers or outer writers, but I'm just going to print out the library and I want to see that I'm able to create the object. Perfect. There's our library object. And technically we have a file name, which is the only thing associated with our library at this specific time. Debating something. Let's go ahead and do this. Yeah, okay. I'm going to create a private method, and this private method is going to be this load database. Sorry, I was doing this a little bit out of order, but I want to do this next. So this def load database method, and this load database method, all it's gonna do pretty much it's going to check if this file exists. And if it exists, it's going to basically try to get all of the data. It's going to try to read all the data from there. Okay, so let's go ahead and do this. So we're going to say if file dot exist question, passing in at file name, the instance variable. The only reason, usually I would have to use a parameter, but because I'm using the instance variable for file name that we already have, I can just use at file name. So if file name exists, then we're going to do something else, and then we're going to give a message saying file doesn't exist. Well, you can just say books equals an empty array, basically. Do puts file does file that file doesn't exist, starting with an empty array of books, something like that. And so if the file does exist, then we're going to go file contents equals file.read at file name. And then from there, we can just go at books equals JSON.parse file contents. I'm sorry, wait, let's do this because I'm using a little bit different syntax. I want to keep it with what we were doing yesterday. We'll go ahead and do this. I'm just going to leave that there and we'll walk through what's going on here in a second. Sorry about that. Okay, cool. Yeah. That flow database. Yeah. Okay, cool. Let's go ahead and try running this and see what happens. And also, you can say like puts books loaded from at file name. Cool. Go try it out. Cool. The file doesn't exist, starting with an empty array of books. Perfect. That's exactly what we expected. And then if I go ahead and create a new file, and I'm going to call it library.j. What did I call it up there? Is it library.json? Yeah, library.json. Even though it's empty, if I go ahead and run this, JSON. Oh, I need to require JSON. Dang, I'm forgetting things. Sorry about that. Require JSON. Unexpected end of input. Unexpected books. JSON.parse the file contents. Okay, let's just simplify this. I'm sorry about that. We're just going to use this or the original syntax. File equals file.open at file name. Specifically, we're reading, and then we can go at books equals file.read. Okay, cool. There we go. Sorry. I was trying to use different syntax that I was going to show you guys, but we'll simplify it to use the original one. Okay, cool. So books loaded from it. Now I can go. So I guess let's go through what we have already because there's kind of a decent amount going on here already. So the first thing we do is it created this class library. We created an initialized function that has a default value of library.json, which is exactly why when I do library.new, I don't have to pass in a value for it. If I wanted to change it to, let's say, context.json for whatever reason, I could. And now this is going to load context.json instead of library.json. But right now, just to keep it simple, we're using the default value. From there, we're setting up what the instance variable is, which is at file name, which ultimately is going to be this because we're not passing anything in. And then we're calling a function called load database. So load database goes here. And so basically we're going to check, does that file exist? If it does, then we're going to open that file up in read mode, set an at books object to be the contents of it, and print out that the file was loaded. If the file doesn't exist, we're going to print out that it doesn't exist, and we're going to set books to be an empty array because technically at this point in time, we haven't created, there's nothing there. Cool. So now let's go ahead and do this. Let's go ahead and try add. That's in the book. Yeah, just gonna do this. Library dot add, passing in the Bible. If I run this, actually we should just say, let's go ahead and do like puts book added. Oh, it's add book. Sorry about that. Add book. Run this. Solid. Book added. And so then now at this point, I should be able to do like, I feel like I should have made add books should have made this like a empty array up here. I don't know. Sorry. The way that I did in my notes earlier when I was messing with it is a little bit, I just feel like I could have done it cleaner, but we're just gonna continue with how I have it. Okay. Anyway, we're able to load the books and we're able to add a book technically, but we're not right now. We don't have a way for us to actually update the database that we have, which is this library.json. And so I'm going to create another private method. I'm going to create a method and I'm going to call this one update database. And so this is the function that we're going to use to actually kind of, as it says, whenever we add a book, we're going to call update database, which is basically going to update it with the books that we've read. We're going to push all of the books in there and yeah. Okay. So this is going to take a parameter. Let's go and do this first. Let's go file.open at file name. At file name. And we are going to specifically, write to a file. And then from there, we can do file.write json.pretty generate, passing in at books. Yeah. Okay, cool. And that's really all we like puts database updated. And then here we can simply call update database. Okay, cool. Let's go and try this. So now if I run this, we can see our library has the Bible, but I'd want it to be the database book. Generate file JSON generate at books. Yeah, that works. Yeah, I suppose this works, but I want it to be an array. That book's coming from there. Yeah, let's change this. Let's do this. Yeah. Give me 1 second, guys. I'm gonna rewrite this. I'm sorry. Instead of it doing this way, to me, it makes more sense that we do like basically like what the homework was, the CLI. Sorry, there was things in here that I just think it doesn't make sense for us to do right now with this. And so I think that it'd be better practice for us to basically create reading and writing to our one of our CLIs. So give me 1 second. I'm gonna fix this. I apologize. This. Grab this. Yeah. Grab this exercise instead. Yeah, I like this one better. Okay, here, let me share this. Just gonna delete this. Let me paste this in. Okay, yeah. Let's do this. This one. Okay, here we go. I apologize. Okay, okay. Here we go. So, this is a much better example than what we were doing. So the group exercises are going to be, you're going to create a movie watch list CLI. It's going to deal with abstraction and encapsulation that we've been going through today, the file IO that we were doing yesterday, and then also just in general, the CLI that we've been kind of doing as a class. And so you're going to build a CLI to manage a list of movies in a file, which technically is going to be like our database. We're going to keep file IO, or the reading and writing or saving and loading stuff, in private methods that users can't do directly. And basically, we're only going to allow the CLI, or the command line interface, to interact with the public methods. And what I mean by that, and actually we can see here in the skeleton, so we have our movie list class with like our initialize, for example. We have our add movie, remove movie, etc. And these are all, if we can see, these ones are all public methods. As soon as we get into our private section, we have our load database, save database, and then also next ID, which we can go through that later. And then here's the actual CLI. And so we'll notice that the CLI is only interacting with the public methods. We're not allowing it to interact directly with load database, save database, etc. We're only allowing them to interact with the public, we'll say API, which API, this is something that's going to be really important for us to go through, probably tomorrow, honestly. But yeah, so I'm going to split you guys up into groups of two, and basically we're going to slowly work through this to build some sort of a movie watch list CLI that kind of puts together all of the different things we've been going through for the past week or so. Cool. So let me go ahead, and I'm going to have Zoom. I'm going to create some breakout rooms. It's going to be our first group project, actually. Okay, assign. Okay, I didn't create these rooms. I had Zoom choose it. Does anybody have any questions before we start? Solid. Okay. I'm gonna click open all rooms, and you guys are good to join up and yeah, try it out basically. And I'll be coming by. I'll be going back from room to room to see how it's going, answer any questions or anything like that. Dang, those guys should be here like any second now. They're waiting to like last second. There's 10 seconds left. So when I close breakout rooms, it gives them 60 seconds. They don't have to like leave right away. And so they're like, there you are. How is it going, guys? So actually, what's your guys' thoughts on this group project or group exercise? What do you guys think?
It was pretty good.
I
Yeah.
think it's fun because like when we're working together, we're trying so hard to like articulate the code and try to make it make sense while Googling it at the same time. So it's cool.
Yeah,
So,
we're learning from each other as we're doing it, so it's pretty interactive.
so we're gonna do more group exercises, maybe like once a week at least, probably. I still want you guys to work on your own some at times, but I do think there's a lot of value in you guys working together. And I'm really happy we ended up doing this. This wasn't the plan at first. I forgot because so with Lana's class, I was doing a lot more like almost all the CLIs, if I'm not mistaken, I made them all group exercises, I think, with Lana's class. But then it was to the point where we are doing too much group exercises. And then I was like, okay, then we pulled back and not did too much. But then I completely forgot about that coming into you guys' class. And so I need to fix my note on that because originally I was like trying to find the balance, and I ended up doing less. And so I want to do find that balance basically. But yeah, so we're definitely gonna do more of this, and we'll continue this tomorrow at the start of class. Sorry, Adrian, you had something?
Yeah, I was gonna say like I think in terms of the team structure, it's yeah, once a week might be really good,
Hmm.
but I think it's cool. I guess for our class and future classes is like how roles for each of us. Like you said, right? Or I think it's cool to have like an articulator, aka someone that's like helping out build the code by word of mouth. So that helps us practice like when we get into interviews, and then the other person just types it out. But like you said, we have the liberty to just alternate in between. So
Yeah, yeah. There's
yeah.
definitely so the usual way there's this concept called pair programming, and I might have briefly touched on this before. The idea of pair programming is like in the real this happens in the real world. Like when I'm working with my last job that I was at out of Florida, the one I was at for the longest time. There was one other Ruby engineer and it was perfect because we were able to kind of program and work together. And there isn't one set like, okay, this is how you do it. But the general rule of thumb is like it's two people working together to build something, or like literally like we're in call together like this and working on something. And usually the way it works is there's one, kind of as you said, Adrian, one person who's talking and one person who's typing. Whether or not you guys are both talking, I'm expecting you guys to both be talking, but I mean, like, there's just one person talking, one person typing. And so there's different ways you guys could kind of handle this, as kind of you said again. And I mentioned it to one of you guys, one of the groups, I forgot. But one way you could do it is just have it set. Okay, this person's typing, this person's talking. Another way you can do it is like you change. Like let's say, okay, halfway through, let's change, switch it up, make sure like allow the other person to talk a little bit more, allow this other person to type a little bit more. And then with regard to that, you can share your code by just copying the whole thing and sharing it. Or I think even a better way to do it is maybe with GitHub. So okay, cool. Once I'm done with my section of it, I'm gonna add commit and push that up, and then the other person can pull it down and make changes to that. And then from there, you guys continuously push and pull your code.
Mhm.
Different ways to do it. And actually, tomorrow we're going to go through another way that we can kind of collaborate together within groups. But yeah, there's a lot of different ways to do it. Um, I thought this project was really cool, and I actually really like it. So tomorrow we're gonna continue with it. I don't think anybody finished. I think most people here were close. So maybe I'll give you guys like 30, 45 minutes tomorrow at the start of class. You guys can work on finishing that. And then from there we'll move on to the next thing, which is gonna kind of be leading us into next week, when we start Ruby on Rails. Well, we start Rails, basically, Ruby on Rails. Yeah, so that is the plan. Now you guys are all killing it. I liked seeing you guys all work together, and yeah, no, it's really cool. It was really, I think you guys learned a lot working together. Um, the other thing I liked that after a little bit, no, it seemed like everybody here was like running their code often. There's like, let me try something out, let me test it out. It's not working, let me add some debugging, like let me add some lines, let me print it out, kind of thing. And so I like that people were doing that, and I want to kind of commend you guys for that, and like, have you guys continue to do that. Um, yeah, I think that's really all I have. Yeah, so thank you guys for being here tonight. You guys all killed it. As I said, we'll continue tomorrow. So I'll see you guys tomorrow at 6. And yeah, you guys have a great night. And I'll hang out for a little bit if anyone has questions.
Cool. Shoots, guys. It's the good bat.
Yes.
All right, gang. Have a good night. Adrian, I'll just Slack you what we have here so you
Yeah.
can take a look at it when you get the chance. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
So you guys
Make
stay
it make
safe.
sense. Yeah.
Oh, bye everyone.